Rev up your engine! You might have seen this on Mazda. Skyactiv technology. What is it? Is it something you might want to buy? Now, Skyactiv technology in Mazdas has to do with the hull, the engine, the transmission. But the main thing is under the hood, the engine. You can see on the engine, Skyactiv technology. This is a 2014. It's a little bit older. As you can see on the sticker here, it's a decent sized engine. It's 2.5 liters. Now, not being a tiny engine like some of these 1.4 liter 3-cylinders, this is a 4-cylinder 2.5 liter that puts out 180 horsepower. It is what's called Skyactiv technology. It's to get more power out of an engine, but at the same time getting good gas mileage on regular gas. It doesn't need premium gas. The Skyactiv technology allows the engine to get 20 to 30% better gas mileage than an engine that doesn't have Skyactiv technology. And in this case, as we take this crappy little cover off, it is done without throwing a turbocharger on it. There is no turbocharger on this baby. It's normally aspirated. Not having a turbocharger on it, it's going to last longer. 2019, they started adding turbochargers on these models. Then they put up to 250 horsepower, a lot more horsepower, but the engine's going to wear out faster, plus the turbocharger's going to wear out. This doesn't have either of those problems. They're going to generally last longer, and this one's an actual proof. Because as you can see on this car, start it up, baby got 153,000 miles, and other than an exhaust leak because of a bad weld under here, the engine doesn't burn oil. It still gets 30 miles a gallon. Now, the regular ones are rated at 32 on the highway, but this is the all-wheel drive version, so you're going to get somewhat worse gas mileage. So my first tip here is this. If you don't need all-wheel drive, don't buy it. It's going to cost more for the vehicle. Going to be more expensive to maintain. You're going to get worse gas mileage. In this case, it's 2 miles a gallon, but it adds up over time. The way the Skyactiv engine works is this. They use higher compression engines. There's more compression inside the cylinder. The spark that comes from the ignition coils starts the flame front to start the ignition, but then the high compression ignites the rest of the fuel. So Skyactiv technology is actually this. It's part gasoline technology, part diesel. The diesels just go by compression firing. The diesel engine compresses the fuel until it gets to a certain pressure and temperature, then it all ignites spontaneously and it's more efficient. Well, in this case, it's similar. The spark starts the flame, but then the extra pressure spontaneously ignites the rest. Extremely efficient engine that's got a lot of power, but also gets good gas mileage. And unlike those crazy Nissan engines that they came out with a short time ago that have variable compression ratios, that go different distances and have cantilever systems, they're very complex, and they've had nothing but problems with those systems breaking down. Part of it's Nissan, part of it's just a stupid design. This design and these Skyactiv engines has proven to be pretty hardy. I mean, this one's got 150 on it, doesn't burn oil, still gets 30 miles a gallon. You can't complain about that. I'm all for technologies that hold up. I'm sure you are too. And like I said, now the newer ones starting in 2019, they did have turbocharged ones that go up to 250. But let me tell you something. You don't need 250 horsepower in that thing to get it going. This one's got 184 and it's plenty zippy. My wife loves it. She thought it was fun driving this thing around, testing it out. And with this mileage, 153, it's still going strong. This technology holds up well as long as you change the oil regularly on the engine. Because let's face it, the horsepower race of more and more horsepower gets to a point of absurdity. This car will cruise 70, 80, whatever the speed limit is all day long, no problems. You don't need to bump it up to 250 horsepower. It's going to wear out faster with a turbo. The faster you drive, the faster your car is going to wear out. The faster you're going to get in an accident too. Got a decent amount of room in it. Like I got the seat back and there's still a ton of room inside. Don't get carried away in the horsepower race like old Elon with his Model S Plaid. Oh, they'll go 0 to 60 in 2-point-something seconds, right? Do you really need to have an electric vehicle? They can go 200 miles an hour. No, you don't. You know, that's just plain stupidity. This is a very good everyday transportation car that can last an awful long time with a technology that's been out long enough that has proven itself to be quite reliable. Being in 2014, this is an older version of the Skyactiv, and the new ones have a lot more complexity. There's no arguing that. Just like the Toyota dynamic force systems that they have are extremely complex. When they break, they're extremely hard to fix. Yeah, they're Toyotas, but everything breaks eventually. And you're better with a system like this that isn't using turbochargers. And what I really like about this particular setup is they don't put CVTs in these CX-5s. They're 6-speed automatic transmissions. Granted, they could get better gas mileage with the CVT, but this whole Mazda thing is zoom zoom. They want to go fast, right? This has an actual 6-speed transmission. You see it shifting gears when you drive. We'll take it for a spin in a little while and you'll see. They got much better pickup. They don't have that feel like you're in a motorboat. This is a very zippy car that still gets pretty good gas mileage. And I do have to say, the engineers at Mazda hit the nail on the head with this. This is a GDI engine, gasoline direct injection, but I have not seen any carbon buildup problems with these Skyactiv engines myself. The Volkswagen GDIs, they can put an inch of carbon or so inside the engine, clog it up. The engineers that built these things certainly seem to have known what they were doing when they designed it. Now, I do have to say, Mazda's always built some pretty good engines. Go back decades, their automatic transmissions were crap, but Toyota now owns a bunch of Mazda. They're sharing technology, so Toyota's getting some of the Mazda engine technology, and Mazda's getting some of the Toyota transmission technology, and to me, it seems to be a pretty good marriage, that they're sharing the correct way, and not the incorrect way, like Fiat when they bought Chrysler. Then they shared the Fiat stuff with Chrysler that was already bad and made it worse. In this case, it's making them better. Let's put the stupid beauty cover back on. Dumbest thing on earth, but hey, that's how they make them. Can't do it with one hand, gotta use two. There, stupid thing's back on. Now we can take it for a spin. Start it up, and considering it's got about 153,000 miles on it, we might be surprised at how it runs. It's got a smallish backup camera, but it's good enough to see. Now this one's a bit noisier, because it does have a little hole on an exhaust pipe where they welded a crossover pipe on it incorrectly, and it now has a hole in it, but I mean, that's no big deal. It's a 6-speed automatic, but the manual works pretty good. If we want to shift it up and down, we're in 3rd gear now, we'll put it in 1st gear. You really get some zoom zoom. Pretty smooth shift when you do it by hand. Demo, I'm just going to leave it in drive mode. Good enough, here we go. And yes, it is zoom zoom. It is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine with Skyactiv technology that not only is efficient, but it's got a lot of zip to it. It's a little car. 184 horsepower is plenty enough for this little car. And the Skyactiv technology for steering and cornering, hey, I gotta say, it's excellent. These cars are a lot of fun to drive. We're gonna zip around this corner and look, the tires don't even squeal. No problem cornering. No over or understeer. I said, it's not a CVT transmission. It is a regular 6-speed automatic transmission. Most people are a lot happier driving one that they feel the shifts, it's not slipping. They like the idea of a regular automatic transmission versus a CVT. I think it was a smart move. The tiny bit better gas mileage you get with a CVT would more or less be ruin the driving experience of the car. You step on the gas now, off it goes. CVT transmissions just don't do that. Rather than bend to the philosophy of the most gas mileage possible, we'll put a CVT and then they won't be any fun to drive. Left a regular automatic transmission in this thing that's a lot more fun to drive, still gets good gas mileage. Now I know a lot of people, if they're like me and they know the history of cars, they're going to say, but Mazdas have always had automatic transmission problems, which is true to some extent, especially decades ago they were terrible. But with their association with Toyota, the absolute first ones of these that were made, some of them had transmission problems. Not all of them. This particular one is a 2014 with 153. The tranny's still upshifts, downshifts like a dream, gets great gas mileage, held up. And the newer ones seem to be even better built. And in this case, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing what the Japanese always have done historically in terms of all of their factories. They just take an idea and over time they perfect it. Where the Americans, that didn't work, throw it away, let's try something else. They take something, they make it better, 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 and they're using the same 6-speed transmission that still works perfectly fine and perfected. Rather than, oh, let's go to CVT. Oh, gee, they're not working right. Well, what will we do next? No. So now you know what Skyactiv technology actually is. It's engines that burn more efficiently, yet don't need high test gasoline. Even the newer ones that you can buy with a turbo, I don't advise buying a turbo myself. You don't have to use premium gas with them either. Yet it lasts 153, doesn't burn oil, still shifts like a dream, and gets good gas mileage. You really can't beat that. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.